We're talking Super Bowl because we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the
Good evening, Dolphins fans. Welcome to another episode of the best, most positive Dolphins show on all the internet, the Fins Bandwagon. Good evening, Dolphins fans. Welcome to another episode of the Fins Bandwagon. I'm your host, FinStanza, and with me always is my pop fish tank, Hank. Hank, look at this wonderful new overlay that Bobby prepared for us. He tried it yesterday on Overtime, where he puts our title, everything about the Fins Talk Network. I think it's super cool. What do you think?
I think that was nice of Bobby to go through all that effort.
Yeah. Well, he knows we're the most positive show on the internet, so he has to do it for us. What can I say? How you doing overall this week? Before we talk about the game and everything, Dolphins, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I was having squeaky brakes on my car.
Oh.
So they replaced the rotors just, I guess, to be sure. And
all better now?
Then I was driving around, the brakes were squeaking. So I don't know. So I'm going to give the new rotors a little time, and if they continue,
drive down to Miami will help get it in here.
Yeah, the drive down will help because those suckers make me mash the brakes a lot.
Exactly. Duke, Ray, it's great to see you both. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere, wherever you want to see us. So, Hank,
yes, sir.
I don't know if you had a chance to see me on the post-game show, but let's just put it to you this way. I was a little... a bit of the overreacting, not about the loss, but about something else. So I think I've had a chance to calm down. I still haven't changed my mind on how that went because I bumped into a bunch of Eagles fans. I hung out with a few this week who understood my frustration and even apologized to me. But before I give my feedback on how I've calmed down over the last 4 days, let me give us, the floor is yours. I'm not going to say a word. Give us your overall perception of the game, how it went for you, everything that took place surrounding the game, and how you're feeling after the game, and how you're feeling today.
Well, this was the one game before the season started that I said was going to be a problem for the Miami Dolphins. Okay. Yeah, we had hurt players. Yeah, there were missing players. But most of all, the offensive line was just hurting the whole time. It was a difficult game, and the refs didn't make it any better. You know what I mean? The refs didn't do any justice to the game. Not that that's the reason why we lost. We lost because our defense can't stop anybody. That's why we lost. But it happens, you know. You take the good with the bad, and, you know, we had a bad loss. And I really wish that our defense was able to do a little more than they've been able to do so far this year. I still see the ability to turn this around, and not just because we'll get a key player back here or there like Ramsey or X. I'm not talking about that. I think the defense needs to come together. You know what I mean? It's like they're not playing as a unit or something. I don't know what it is, but they're not stopping people, and something needs to change. And I have faith that these things will change, because the next defense that we face is the Patriots. So, you know, our offensive line better be a little more ready than it was the last game, because, you know, that could create problems for us too. But the overall feel of the game, it sucked to watch. It was a tough one to watch, but I watched the whole thing, and just started off bad. You know what I mean? It just didn't start right, it seemed. And from there, it just didn't get any better. It was a bad loss. What can I say?
So let me ask you. So you had the narrative that you just said you're still, because your biggest concern was the defense.
Yeah.
But as there have been shows Bobby was pushing back on me on Sunday. He talked about it on East 10th Street. He talked about it with Brett on overtime yesterday, that the offense only produced 7 points.
Yeah.
Sanders produced 3, and the
Mhm.
defense produced 7. And in theory, the defense produced 10 because of the fact that if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have gotten that field goal.
Well,
And
I mean, if you want to put it that way, sure.
no.
But
So my question is to you. You're saying the defense didn't. You're still concerned about the defense, which is
defense
understandable.
didn't stop them, really.
No, in the end, but did the defense have a better game than the offense? So let's talk about the offense
No,
before we get to the defense.
I don't think they had a better game than the offense.
Do you think
I think the offense sputtered, and that was because you were missing some key players on that line.
Okay.
And I think they were going with a hodgepodge, and then a player or two got hurt along the way on that line too.
Yeah.
So that didn't help either. So, I'm kind of giving them a pass on this one. Yeah, they played a crap game, but defense didn't stop anybody.
But they did force 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
I'm challenging you. I'm just asking you. They did force 2 turnovers.
Yeah, they did. They totally did.
Yeah.
No doubt. They forced 2 turnovers, but forcing 2 turnovers, how many points did the Eagles have?
The Eagles had 31 points.
Yeah, 31 points. That's 31 points that they didn't stop.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the two times they did stop them. I'm worried about the other times they were unable to stop them for 31 points. That's what I'm concerned with.
So my biggest concern during the game, and we'll go through the game a little bit more and break out the offense, defense, and what's happening this week and where.
Yeah.
But the title today is about the Dolphins need a dose of hard knocks, and that's kind of a pun for me because they're going to be on hard knocks, which we'll talk about. Also, I think they needed this kind of shot in the mouth to sort of rejig themselves. But the one thing about the referees for me and why I was so pressing on it, and people said I was complaining, had nothing to do with the loss. It had to do with the fact that you're playing in a game where every call the Dolphins had was called. But anything that was flagrant, like the Cedric Wilson pull of the mask, David Long being horse collared, Jalen Phillips getting by Lane Johnson, who hasn't given up a sack in 3 years, where the guy's literally on his back and he still tackled Jalen Hurts. Those were penalties that were so egregious and so that's what frustrated me, is that it was so the fact I'll put it to you this way: in hockey, you have that, which is the more rougher sport. Even in basketball, but let's take hockey as an example. There's never going to be a game where there's 10 penalties for one and 0 for another. It's always going to balance itself out. In basketball, you're always going to equalize the fouls at some point in a game. To be 10, and I don't know if you knew this as a stat, but I said it on the post game. Not since the Pittsburgh Pirates, not baseball, football of 70 years ago, went a complete football game with 0 penalties. And you're talking about a team with a team like the Eagles, which is known for being a rough, physical team. They're the last team you could possibly think to get 0 penalties. That was my frustration with that part of the game.
Yeah, I could see where you might get frustrated and all that, Evan.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know what? We're here to be positive, and positive.
I'm about to flip it. No, so I'm about to flip it. I was less concerned about the game.
Yeah.
The 31-17 score doesn't mean much to me because in many occasions, had Lester Cotton not come in on his first snap and not taken that holding penalty with Isaiah Wynn getting injured, and Tyreek's touchdown, which was a gorgeous touchdown. You have no idea how beautiful that touchdown actually was in the route that he ran to be in the middle of the end zone as open as he was. That was a pullback for us. Then Tyreek dropping a gimme running into the end zone. That was another one. And then Tua, something happened on that route where Slay got that interception, where Tua does that where Waddle and Mostert were too close to each other. One of them didn't run the right route. They were too close to each other, and that interception. So there were so many instances, and that could have tied the game. So there were instances where the Dolphins literally were in this game where three touchdowns that just didn't happen. So in the end, the score wasn't as evident. Now, did the offensive line struggle? Yes. Were we missing more players than the Eagles? Yes. But we know Liam Eichenberg is not Connor Williams. He had a bad set of snaps in one drive where Tua saved him at one point, but then he got sacked as a result of it, and they missed the handoff. Kendall Lamb did everything he could. Lester Cotton was his first game, and Tua didn't have much to go with at one point. Waddle was out, and Cedric Wilson looked great. The offense for me only scored 7 points against a top 10 defense, but I just think it was just one of those things where it was an aberration. And even Mike McDaniel said, screw Justin Bieber and Drake, the voice of Canada. Thank you, Hunter. I love you, Hunter. Mike McDaniel said before the game started, the night before the game, he said to his team, if we win this game, people are going to think we're world beaters, and then we're going to be the greatest team in the world. If we lose this game, we haven't beaten anybody. Who cares what? But you know what he said? I don't care what anybody else thinks. It matters what we think in this locker room. Did they have a great game? No. But did they lose? Did they get dominated at the line of scrimmage? A little bit. But who cares? Who cares? For me, on the offensive side of the ball, what were the positives you saw from that game that to you it wasn't as bad as people think because they only scored 7 points?
Well, like I said, it was a kind of a hodgepodge of a offensive line to start with, and then you go in and throw Cotton in there, and like you said, it's kind of his first start, and it wasn't a great mix, and you were missing a lot of players, and you're not gonna be missing that many players most of the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So between the offense and the defense, we were missing quite a few players on both sides, which I'm sure hurt us with a couple scores here and there, on both sides of the ball. But in the end, Jason Sanders kicked his field goal for you, though.
Yep.
So,
did his job.
That's the positive for you.
And any given Sunday, everyone was so high on why I'm going to be positive. Everyone was so high on the Lions. They walked into Baltimore, a place where we were down last year, and they got their butts kicked. Even though they were out Debo, so we were out with Jalen Waddle at a little point. We didn't have Jalen Ramsey. San Francisco went into Minnesota, and they lost.
You know what's
losing football? Teams.
You know what else is funny?
What?
They sit there and talk about how Miami hasn't beat anybody except teams with a losing record. Hey, we didn't pick the schedule before the schedule started. Everybody said we have the
most difficult schedule.
Second hardest schedule in the NFL. So I don't want to keep hearing about what other teams are. I don't care what they are.
Yeah, me too.
That's what they are.
Irrelevant.
Everybody said we had the second hardest schedule.
Yeah.
And now everybody's trying to flip-flop on it. Okay, well, we're still 5-2 with the second hardest schedule. Yeah. That's pretty good. You want the positive? Good. There's the positive.
Exactly. So for me, the offense.
Hunter, fins up.
Yeah. Did they struggle? Yes. But who cares? It was a game that could have flipped on its head. It was similar to, I'm trying to remember the game it was. I think it was maybe the Bengals game last year when Tua went out, but and then Teddy came in and it was still close, and then we threw a bad interception that changed the game. The scores don't always define the result of the game. No. In the end, the team is still positive about what happened. Tyreek Hill admitted that he had a bad game, and he apologized on X-ray after the game to everybody. It is what it is. It's a whatever game. You want to know what? What are people going to say? I said to people last week that the Buffalo Bills were going to choke. What happened to the Buffalo Bills? They choked. Okay?
Let me talk to Hunter.
Yeah.
Hunter, fins up. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
We were more than happy to send you out that hat.
Yeah.
We had to redo Ender's hat because his wasn't available to purchase, but we got him the other one that he picked, and that's on the way. Should be there the 30th.
Yeah, I'm going to give people updates on Holland and Ramsey in a little bit.
Yeah, let's get an update. What do we got?
I'm going to give you guys updates. I'm going to give you guys bad updates. Yeah, and Zach Ertz. We'll talk about the trade deadline in a few minutes. Also,
I don't think Ramsey's going to play till at least.
I have a feeling he will play, but we're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you my opinion.
All right.
In terms of the defense, I'm very much convinced, and I saw it. When I watch all the other games. I watch a lot of football, and I see people like Steve Spagnuolo of the Chiefs. I see people like Sean Desai for the Eagles, and I see these guys motivating and pushing and encouraging their defense. While Jalen Ramsey's up there, and he's truly the captain of this defense and what the defense was trying to be built around, he was the prized possession of the offense. The fact that Vic Fangio's up there and is not down there with the defense as they're struggling, to me, bothers me to no end. Because there's no connection with his defense. It's very off-putting for me that he's not on the bench after they struggle on defense and giving them a hard time. He's supposed to be the iron fist for this defense to get them into shape, and he's doing it from the press box. I don't think it works.
No.
So for me, that's one opinion. My other opinion on the defense was they did get some turnovers, but it was still one of those things where the offense, especially the tush push, they were so out of sync on how to stop that. It showed how weak the defense was because they don't have one defender who was able to stop that. It was as if it didn't matter if they were 4th and 4 and they would have tried the tush push. They would have pushed our defense back. And what it proved to me that weekend, I don't know about you, I love Christian Wilkins. He's a true motivator, but the penalties he took, like we knew that was going to be a roughing the passer, even though it's a crummy play for the NFL and it's a very soft league. Him taking that penalty, knowing that if he pushed that guy, was inexcusable from a captain, and then him to have his hand on the wrong side of the field as the leader of the captain of that defense, he's continuing to show that yes, he has more sacks than he's ever had before. That we're his biggest cheerleaders, but he's not someone I would give $20-25 million to. And the Eagles game showed that he continues to struggle trying to be the leader of that defense. What are your thoughts on that?
On the defense?
First with Christian Wilkins.
First on Christian Wilkins. All right. Well, Christian Wilkins
had a bad game.
My answer to Christian Wilkins right now, who wanted this big bag of money before the season started and the Dolphins didn't give it to him. Well, maybe they saw what's happening before it happened. Maybe they didn't think he was worth paying. Maybe they feel like they can draft a defensive guy and take his place. I don't know what they're thinking, but I think Christian Wilkins either needs to adjust his pocketbook or he needs to adjust his play.
Yeah.
One or the other, because he's not even run stopping. Him and Sealer are not run stopping anything.
No.
It's like tissue paper out there, okay? It's horrible.
They need someone. They need someone in that middle. They need a new defense. If I was Chris Greer, if they're not convinced he's the right guy and they're not going to give him, and he's not moving on his money, I would trade him before the deadline. It's coming tight, or they have to agree to something in the $15 to $17 million range. Because more than that, they rushed with Chubb to sign him. They rushed with Ogba to sign him. You saw it in the Eagles game because he continued to show his worth. Andrew Van Ginkel is worth way more for his play than Christian Wilkins is.
Yeah.
And we know that Eli Apple is showing that he is just a stopgap. He's not doing what he's doing. Kohu did everything possible. Kohu was phenomenal in that game. I don't care what he said. Kohu belongs in the slot. Chubb had a decent game. Phillips had a decent game. But Sealer and Wilkins have not been playing great. Holland and Long was all over the field.
Well, let's talk about this rumor.
About
Patrick Surtain.
I don't think – the thing about these big-name players is it's all talk, but you have to give up draft picks, and they're not going to give up a first-round draft pick.
I'm just saying he said he wanted to go to Miami.
I know that. The problem is, would you give up another first? We haven't had a first in years. Would you give up a first?
For him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're willing to go in 2 years from now, or
would
next
I
year?
pick him as a first-round pick?
But we said that about Chubb too. We said that about Chubb also.
But you're asking me, and I'm saying yes, I would pick him in the first round. Okay. I would. I think he's that good where you can.
But
pick
if you
him
take Surtain now, where do you put X?
Where do I put X? I put X on his way out.
Already now. Okay.
No, he's been steadily declining.
No, I'm saying
steadily.
This year.
Huh?
I'm saying this year.
This year he hasn't done anything.
No, I'm saying I'd love to get Patrick Surtain, but let me ask something. If Jalen Ramsey is back and X is back, And
you had Patrick Surtain, and you had Holland.
Holland's going to be out for a little bit with the concussion protocol. He won't play this week. But
I'm not worried about this week. I understand that.
Let me ask you, before we move on to the overall team, let me just ask you one last thing about the Eagles game. Did you see any improvement from the defense? Because people like Bobby and people like Brett saw improvements from the defense. Did you see any positive signs from the defense that you can walk away from that game saying, I saw improvement from the defense and they're going in the right direction? Or are you still not convinced until Ramsey is back?
I'm not convinced, to be totally honest with you, because like I said, they scored 31 points on us, and I thought we had a better defense. I thought we had a better defense, and I know I picked them to score 42 points.
Yeah.
I picked them to score 42 points because that's how bad I felt our defense was.
Yeah. Okay.
So that gives you an idea before the game even started. I already had.
I want Danielle Hunter also. I'd also get Danielle Hunter also.
And if it wasn't for field goals, the Eagles would have had a lot more points too. Yeah. So.
All I can say is before we move on away from those awful Eagles, and I'm very, very happy that the Phillies also lost because, yeah. Congratulations to the Arizona Diamondbacks, by the way. For me, Nick Sirianni, he's one of those guys if I saw him in person, I just want to smack him. But that's okay. Before we get it, so I called the show to do the Dolphins need a dose of hard knocks. We'll talk about all the upcoming game and what will be happening with the Patriots in a minute. I say because there's a double part of this. They needed to be slapped in the mouth. I think they're going to recover from this because I think they just needed one of the. I think they did the best it could, but they saw that they need to be more physical. I think the Miami Dolphins are a little too nice, and I think that even though they were smiling after the game, they know they have to be meaner and they have to play with more zest. They have to play with more punch, or else they're not going to beat these playoff teams. When you found out about Hard Knocks that Mike McDaniel didn't look so happy about it, neither did Tua, I was ecstatic. I love it. I think Tyreek Hill is going to lather this up. I think this is a Stephen Ross special to get these Miami Dolphins, this family, this great community, because I hear they have a phenomenal locker room. Everyone loves each other. What was your reaction? How excited are you to see that mid-season, even that we're going to be able to see the in and outs of Hard Knocks? I can't, because this is not 2000. This is not Joe Philbin Hard Knocks. This is Mike McDaniel. How excited are you to see Hard Knocks with the Miami Dolphins? I think it's going to be good for them. People think it's bad when you bring this into the locker room, but they do have creative control. Well, I'm ecstatic for this. How excited are you to see this type of Miami Dolphins team on Hard Knocks?
I'm excited because it's not like they put anything out there beforehand and let you see the week before they play and all that. They don't do that.
No.
So it's like you're seeing it after the fact.
Yeah.
So I don't look at it as a jinx thing or any of, a lot of people see it as a jinx thing and it's no good. But no, I'm like you. I see it as a positive thing because it'll generate an awareness that might not be there right now from the players and the staff. They might not be aware of this little thing over here or that little thing, but once they start watching these films together, they'll start to see and go, oh, what about that? Or how about that?
Yeah.
Things come out. Things come out when
I think
you put that many people and jam them in with a bunch of cameras.
Yeah, and I think that to Tyreek Hill, this is the perfect thing for him. He's never going to do this.
I think it's going to benefit, though.
Oh, 100%.
I think, especially like you said, Tyreek Hill, he's very positive for the Miami Dolphins.
I'm not excited at all, but Daniel, it has nothing to do with Hard Knocks. We're going to see after the Kansas City Chiefs game where we win, we're going to get to see that lead up a little bit because it's going to happen, like how the reaction afterwards and all that. Because I don't know when I think they're filming after Kansas City, but we'll get to see the reaction, how they react, and how they prepare for during their bye. It will actually be kind of nice.
What we're going to have to see is how they do against the Patriots.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes and talk about the trade. My concern, the reason why I like it is you got to see all these cool interviews with Tua lately, where with Michael Smith and all these other things where he feels a little more human. You humanize him a little bit more because he is a private guy. There was the whole thing yesterday. I don't really care for Kyle Van Noy because he came from New England. He's a Patriot. But the whole thing where he said it was a civil war with Chris Greer, and now everyone's saying how it debunks everything with Flores. The person who was the biggest victim in all this was Tua because of everything that went on with him. I personally think bringing the cameras in there and trying to see what kind of a leader he truly is, and the fact that he was hosed in his first 2 seasons, and until Mike McDaniel got there and he got to be himself, we're truly going to get to see the real Tua Tagovailoa, and that's what I like about it. I like the fact that we're going to be able to see the what we're all proud of. We're bandwagoners without having the cover lifted. Let's get the cover lifted and prove and continue to show people how great the Miami Dolphins fans and how great the team is and how great the camaraderie is and how great that how they don't get hard on each other. It's not a negative locker room. It's not toxic. It's just a great family affair. That's why I'm looking for it. This whole thing this week is not a bad thing for me. Okay, so that's all there for that. So let me give you an update. So the weird thing about that whole thing with Javon Holland, with that when they collided him and Long, and that was a scary hit. Long didn't come back in, Holland did, but now Holland's in concussion protocol and Long is okay. I think both should have stayed out the rest of the game. I would sit Holland. Holland's going to sit out because he's still in concussion protocol. But the benefit is this is why Nick Needham has been also practicing at safety. Brandon Jones is capable to come in and play with Deshaun Elliott, but I also see Nick Needham, when he does come back, is going to be a safety. And there's depth now at safety at that position. They might go get Justin Simmons, or so like Bobby is suggesting, but I think that Nick Needham, that's the thing. Very soon by the Kansas City game, you're going to have Jalen Ramsey. You're going to have X. You're going to have Nick Needham. You might have Javon Holland back. You're going to have Brandon Jones. You're going to have Deshaun Elliott. You're going to have depth at that position. So I truly believe by the time we
after
get to
the bye,
before the bye, I think we're going to have more. Our strength again is going to be our secondary when we walk into Kansas to Germany. Like that used to be our bread and butter. How our secondary was our strength this year.
So you think that X, Holland, and Ramsey are all going to be on the field when we face Kansas City? Then?
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah, all right.
1,000%. 1,000%.
I didn't know that Ramsey was that far along.
Ramsey is limited for this week. I personally think he's limited now. If I were them, I'd play him a little bit this week. Not the whole game. I'd play him. Only for him to get his feet wet. Because he's going to have to go into a big game. All eyes are going to be watching. Yes, he's a superstar in his first game. Here, he's at home. He has the crowd. People are like you are going to be cheering for him. He's not going against stout defenders and Devontae Parker and Kendrick Bourne. He's not going after superstars. Get his feet wet. That's what I would do. I don't think Vic Fangio is going to put him in. If I were him, I'd put him in. And just to give you an update, the reason why he's more far along is it wasn't a total tear. It was on the rim. So because it was on the rim, he was able to get back faster because he's just a superstar athlete. He was able to heal faster. I don't think he'll end up playing, but I think he will play. I think he'll end up sitting, but I would like him to play. I think X will be back. Would you sit out Connor Williams, even if he's ready? I think he needs to be back yesterday. Of all the players who are potentially on the injured list, after seeing what Liam Eichenberg did at center, we need Connor Williams back, like in the greatest. You saw in that one series, one they missed. It was so hot, it was so poorly snapped that the running back was already 10 yards across the line because Tua couldn't give him the ball. The other one was rolled to Tua. The other one was right at his neck where he got sacked the moment. It was just a mess. So for me, Smith. Yeah, by the way, Cam Smith actually hurt his foot. Who knows if he was even going to play? I personally think that Cam Smith, that's just for a segue, Cam Smith and Channing Tindall just are not getting the defense yet still. I just think they're just not getting it for Vic Fangio, and that's just it's what it is. But let me ask you, I want to see Connor Williams. If you had to pick one player, I say Connor Williams. If anyone who's on the injured list right now, who 100% of all those players would you need to see, would you want to see on the field on Sunday?
On this Sunday?
Yeah, who do you want to see back? Who's the most critical piece you were missing? Like, let me ask you, on Sunday when we played the Eagles, where was the biggest detriment to you? Which position?
It was the defensive line, but nobody was missing.
where there was an injury? Were you more concerned about the secondary or more concerned about the offensive line? Were you more concerned about losing X or more concerned about Connor Williams? Who would you have rather had in that game?
I would rather have had Armstead back.
Okay, but you wanted an offensive lineman, personally, right? So that's the truth. Right now, our offensive line cannot survive with 3 backups on the left side, no matter what.
Not working.
No, Armstead might be back for Kansas City too. Okay, so I think we're going to be really healthy for Kansas City. I made a point, and then I want to get into this about injuries.
Yeah, but you know what? This game is more important than the Kansas City game.
I know. I'm nervous about this week's game.
It's an interconference game, a division game, and we have to do something. You know, they're going to have to step up.
Yeah,
I think that they can, though.
I'm nervous about this game, and I said this: if X is not back, if Ramsey's not back, I said this on the pregame. I'm going to stick this. If Ramsey's not back, if X is not back, if Holland is not there, if Williams doesn't play, and Armstead is not there, those 5 players, this game is literally a coin toss, because I have a feeling that this team is going to be over, or might be looking past the Patriots. They better be not, but I think they might. And by the way, this would be a true dose of hard knocks for them. And I
Patriots defense is too good. They're not gonna sleep on the
even in Miami.
Yeah, the Pats they got a defense.
Exactly.
Now,
so for me,
I don't think they're gonna sleep on them at all.
So no, but my point is, I think that even with Tyreek Hill, because think about it, they're the 9th best defense. Even though they're 2-5, they're the 9th best defense, and we struggle against top 10 defenses. For me, I still believe my team will win. I said if those players are not there, I would not be shocked if we lost. Okay, I would not be. I made a prediction, but I have a feeling that my hope will come true, and we will see a Connor Williams on the field. We will see a Nick Needham on the field. We will see an X back on the field. If I see those players,
see Ramsey on the field. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see some of our other offensive linemen back on the field.
Yeah. What was your reaction? People made this big thing, and then today he was joking about it. Let me ask you. If Tyreek Hill was out yesterday with a hip injury. When he got interviewed today, he said, no, my mother was mad at me, and she told me I had to stay home with the kids. And he started making this whole time that he had to spend time with his kids and all this. But on the injury report, they put a hip injury. If Tyreek Hill is not 100%, do you sit him for this game? If you're the coach, would you sit him?
No, I wouldn't sit him. I would let him go out there for the first quarter at least and see how he feels. And if he feels fine, then let's play. If he doesn't, then reel him back in. But you need him. You need everybody you can get to face the Pats. The Pats aren't going to be any joke at home this time around. And like I said, it's all because of their defense. It has nothing to do with their offense at all. And because our defense hasn't really, in my opinion, they haven't done what I thought they were going to do. That's for sure. Yeah. And I don't know. Can I
read you something quickly? So,
sure.
Dolphins. This is an article. Dolphins Jalen Ramsey just came out. Dolphins Jalen Ramsey, because Vic Fangio wouldn't admit anything today. Dolphins Jalen Ramsey reportedly expected back from the injury versus Patriots.
Jalen Ramsey
reportedly will be making his 2023 season debut. You're not going to listen to what I'm saying. Can you hear me at least? I'm giving him breaking news, guys. Guys, I'm giving Hank breaking news, and he got up. Anthony, so let's read your comment before I read this. I'm not going to read it without a fish tank. The deadline's coming up. How much do you guys think we need Josie Jewell and Justin Simmons from the Broncos? Any player. I don't care if it's Josie Jewell, Justin Simmons, Derrick Henry, Patrick Surtain, Chase Young, Danielle Hunter, Ruiz. I don't care who on the offensive line. Any player who wants to come to join the Miami Dolphins, the more, the merrier. Come to South Beach and come join this team that's going to the Super Bowl. Guys, I wanted to read you something because there was something funny that Jalen Ramsey had to say. And unfortunately, I wanted to read it to Fish Tank, but Fish Tank just ran away from me, guys. Ray, what's going on? By the way, did you see Ray? There was a game, I forget which kicker it was, that kicked laces in. Pure Ace Ventura this past week. It was phenomenal. I'm going to give Hank 30 seconds, guys. And if not, I'm going to just read the article to all of you. For all of you, who's the one player or one position that you think that the Dolphins need heading into the trade deadline? What position? And I asked this question to Fish Tank, what would you play Tyreek Hill if he's at 75%? Hank, I was reading you something and you got up.
You know,
breaking news.
I had to go.
It's
I
okay.
had to go.
It's okay.
And that was in a literal sense.
I know. I'm going to read this to you. Let's read the Schefter report.
I just came in from dinner right before the show.
You're a beautiful man.
Why.
What was for dinner?
I had filet mignon.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had filet mignon with a baked potato and a salad. My wife had the spicy shrimp.
Very nice. So I want to read you this. Jalen Ramsey will reportedly making his 2023 debut on Sunday. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Miami Dolphins are planning for the superstar cornerback to make his return against the New England Patriots, just 3 months after having surgery for a full meniscus repair on his left knee. Okay? And then this is how the Jalen Ramsey just went on Twitter. So this is why I just got a crazy amount of text. Well, this is news to me. MFs don't care about being right. They care about being first. That's sad. So he's quashing that report. He doesn't know yet. So we'll see what's going to go on. What's up, Scotty?
I don't think he'll be playing for.
I think he will. I would play him because I personally think you need to get your feet wet, and no better place to do that than at home. The guy was our prized possession of the upcoming season. I would play him more than I would play Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, if he's not 100%, we can beat the Patriots without Tyreek Hill. And I personally believe that if we beat when we beat the Patriots without Tyreek Hill, the whole narrative about Tua and this team and not beating great teams, people won't say that anymore because you did it without your best player. You did it literally without your best player by a country mile.
Well, our best player is Tua.
You got me there. Yeah, by the way, it's going all. I'm telling you, while we're on the bandwagon, it's breaking news. ESPN, Jalen Ramsey's playing. According to Jalen Ramsey, he doesn't know this. I love this. I gotta love ESPN.
I couldn't hold it anymore, son.
I know. It's all good.
I had to go.
Good. I know.
But I at least told you before I left. I said I got to go.
You're awesome. You're awesome. All I could say.
Then I muted the mic too.
It's all good. Fins up, Ender. All I'd like to say is that for me,
Ender, fins up. You should get the hat on the 30th.
That's awesome. The Dolphins have their injuries, but like I said, they're getting their injuries back towards the big game of Kansas City and heading into the bye and heading into the stretch run. We struggled last year because we had a lot of injuries in the stretch run of the second half of the season. I personally believe that heading into the deadline, we're going to shore up a little. We're going to get someone on the offensive line. If Achan's not 100% and Wilson wasn't utilized in the other game, if you want to add another running back, go for it. I think they're going to add to their defensive line. I think they're going to add 3 pieces to this team, and I think that's going to make for the stretch run. I think there's going to be someone on the O line. I think there's going to be 2 players on defense.
When's I think the trade deadline?
October 31st, this Tuesday. It's coming fast.
I knew it was coming. I didn't know it was that.
Let me ask you, what positions are you? What 3 positions would you shore up right now? Would you go get
shore up?
Like what 3 positions on the team would you need to fill right now?
Definitely offensive line. You need depth there. It's not good enough right now. But I know there's really nobody out there right now either. So
there's Ruiz who can play left guard. I think he's with the is it Cesar Ruiz? I can't remember his name. But there's a Ruiz, is a guy. He's on the block.
Okay.
I'll try to remember his name. I'll tell you his name in a second. While you're talking, I'll look him up. Ruiz.
While I'm talking.
Ruiz. Cesar Ruiz. Yeah. Cesar Ruiz. New Orleans.
Cesar Ruiz.
Yeah.
All right.
He's on the New Orleans Saints. I'd go get him.
New Orleans Saints. That's a possibility for us.
I think he's played with Tehran, which would be a good thing. That'd be a nice combination together.
Yeah, that would be a nice combination.
Yeah. Who else are you thinking on the defense?
Who else am I thinking?
The defense. Running back.
You know, the trade deadline's coming. What's going to happen with Wilkins? You know,
I think
that's a big
Greer
question
loves
mark.
him.
Are they going to trade him and try to get other assets that they might think that they need? I don't know.
Unless they replace him with another lineman, if they trade Wilkins without getting another lineman back, they're basically destroying their O line, right?
The D line.
The D line, I mean, they're not going to have anyone, no depth.
No.
Brunskill makes sense too, Scotty. You're right. No, for me, I think they need to add another secondary play. I have a linebacker, a lineman, a D lineman, and an offensive lineman. Those three things would make me very happy.
A lineman, a defensive lineman, and who?
And a linebacker.
And a linebacker.
We need someone in that. The thing is that one thing, you know how that whole thing with the draft that they're comfortable with their O-line? They seem to not want, they only want speedsters on the linebacker core, like a David Long, like a Van Ginkel, like a Baker. They don't want a thumper. A lot of us want that thumper in the middle. And trust me, the thumper in the middle would have stopped that tush push. What's up, Raphael? He would have stopped that tush push. We're not mean enough. That's the thing about the Dolphins. Even though Jason
tight
Taylor,
end, I agree with Hunter. Tight end.
Yeah, that's also one thing. The tight end that was one thing I was concerned about. The tight end. What it showed in the Eagles game is that the tight ends could not block anything. When Hassan Reddick was on that field, those two tight ends, whether it was Hill, whether it was Ingold, whether it was Smythe, they couldn't stop a cold. We need.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah. Levante
David. I always like to go off script. So.
Go off script.
Claypool. What do you think about Claypool?
I like Claypool. He said he had a package for him. The problem I saw in that game was that when Waddle got hurt, Cedric Wilson made two beautiful catches, which was great. He played well. I think that he is a bit of a prisoner. He didn't use Wilson even though he was active. He didn't go to Smythe. He didn't go to Claypool. He went to Hill. He went to Waddle. He went to Wilson. He went to Mostert. That's about it. That bothered me. Like I said, I told this on the pregame show. We need to see a distribution of the ball to 7 different receivers, or forget about it. We're not going to win because they knew where they were going. They knew where they were going every single time. And also, when did it work? When we went on the outside as a zone. They tried to put Savon Ahmed up the middle. He's not Devon Achane, who has lightning speed, who can break a small hole. That was bothering me. Do you know that I think it's the first time in 20-something years that a team had negative yards of running in the first half?
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
That reminds me of Marino days.
Yeah, they're not trading Waller. We love Waller,
Every
but they're not
time
trading
they
him.
try to run the ball, they get negative yards, it seems.
Yeah, it was very frustrating because they were going up the middle. The only time it worked is when they went to when they were going outside zone, and that's when it worked. But they were stubborn about it. They were stubborn about it. Oh yeah, good news. Craycraft is out of his window also, which he'll be back in a few weeks. We're getting our players back. We're going to get our players back, which is huge for us. If I'm them, Isaiah Wynn. Take it easy for the rest of the season. If you're out a couple of weeks, Izukama, your neck, sit out, whatever you have to do. We need our star players, and we need to add players for the sure run.
Hey Hunter, I think Claypool still needs to learn a bit of the offense.
But they had a package for him.
Really seen him yet.
I'd use him in an Izukama package, just ease him. That's the thing that I'm frustrated with. They've stopped. What worked in a lot of these games where we've had success. You saw a different player getting the ball. Because when you give other players the ball, they're going to go one-on-one on Tyreek. They're not going to double cover him.
They don't know where to go.
They don't know where to go. But if you're constantly going to Tyreek, even though Tyreek will likely get open, you're not making it difficult for the defense. Make it difficult on the defense. What's up, Eric? Good to see you, man. Let's talk about the Patriots. So the Patriots are coming off a big win that I predicted. Mr. Ugly Gritty, Mike Gesicki, big touchdown. Josh Allen played awful again. I haven't checked the score in the Bucs game yet, but hopefully they somehow lose.
You know, why does Josh Allen not suck when he plays us?
He doesn't. By the way, he has not played well. He didn't play the last time with Miami.
He never sucks when he plays against us.
Because the Dolphins struggle against running quarterbacks. We know this. Our defense struggles against running quarterbacks. By the way, you know what's
Go
ironic?
Bucks.
You know what's ironic? You know what's ironic? He played. You know who's been on our team as long as Josh Allen has? Just as long?
Who?
Christian Wilkins. Maybe it's Christian Wilkins' fault.
No.
I blame Christian Wilkins for why Josh Allen.
I love Christian Wilkins, but if we can get something for him,
I'm bugging you.
I'd like to see
But
it.
Josh Allen showed last week that he's like that team is very one-dimensional. They're easily that they are not as consistent as people think they are. Let's talk about the game. Okay, it's an interdivisional game. It's going to be in Miami. Tua has never lost against Bill Belichick. They're coming off a big win against the Bills. What is your feeling? And obviously, we don't talk about the predictions until Saturday for you. What is your feeling about this game? Is this a trap game for you? Is this a game where the Dolphins are going to basically play, and they're playing in their retros? That's why I'm wearing the retro tonight. That's why I'm wearing retro. You're wearing retro hat. You get to bring out your retro one. It's going to be super cool. You know, I can't believe this. We're about to play our 8th game of the season. We've yet to wear aqua on our show. We've yet to wear the aqua jerseys. I don't know when they're wearing aqua because they're not going to wear them in Kansas City because they're the away team, so they have to wear white. Then they're on the bye. Then maybe I don't think you're ever going to see them wear aqua. I think they might just wear white all season. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, but they're wearing the throwbacks, right?
Yeah, wearing the throwback whites. Yeah. So what's your feeling heading into Sunday right now on Thursday?
This is an important game.
Yeah.
The defense is no joke on the other side. I'm pretty sure Judon will be playing.
Yeah.
I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure he is. And you know, that defense, you know, they whooped up on the Bills.
But they did it in Foxborough. They didn't do it in Miami. They didn't do it in Buffalo. They did it in Foxborough.
Still, they beat them.
I know. But do you know what I don't know if you know this off the top of your head. Do you know in the last 18 home games, and you've been to some of them, what's the Dolphins' record at home? Do you know?
No. I don't know, but
if you had to venture a guess, what is the Dolphins' record in their last 18 games at home?
Undefeated.
16-2. Still pretty good, right? It's pretty good. So you know what that is. I was there 2 weeks ago. There's a different feel when they're at home. The crowd, the dynamics of the stadium, how the team feels. Those Bucks are only 3-0. That means the Bucks are still in it. The Bucks are still in it. 16-2, but good guess. I personally think this is going to be one of those games where if Jalen Ramsey plays, I'll put it this way: if Jalen Ramsey plays, that is the pinch in the arm. The Dolphins are going to have a field day. If he sits out, I think it's going to be a little more of a conservative game, and I think we will win probably by 10, maybe 14, but it's not going to be a slobber knocker. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I'm not going to give my score. I still might have to reanalyze everything. But also remember, Tyreek Hill ate his lunch for J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson is now on the Patriots again. He's going to have some fun with J.C. Jackson again. Overall right now, are you predicting a win? You had a feel about the Eagles. Is this the one game? Does this game scare you? Does this game give you pause? Does it scare you? You're nervous, but in the end, the Dolphins have zero reason to lose. What is your overall like you're saying?
I think if the Miami Dolphins defense continues to not show up, that we're going to have problems. Period. Because you can't expect the offense to run smooth all the time. And last game is an example of the offense might not run smooth all the time.
Yeah.
You never know whether it's missing players, missing key passes down the field, fumbling the ball, whatever. Things happen. And until Miami can start scoring those points that they were scoring in the beginning of the year, The defense needs to show up. And until the defense shows up, we're going to be dragging our tail and trying to do everything on offense. Yeah. And when you start doing that, you get the ball too much. You're not playing, conservative ball by running it. You're trying to throw it to catch up all the time, and then your schemes are too predictable. Yeah. So they have to do some change up. They need to do a few things, but I still feel like Miami has an edge because of their offense. Mm-hmm. Because of Miami's offense, I think that they are better than the Patriots' defense.
Yeah, and the Patriots' D-line is not the Eagles' D-line. If this was an away game,
the Patriots are no slow.
I know that. But I'll tell you this: if they had to go home and then go back on the road and go face the Patriots this week in Foxborough at a 1:00 start, I would be terrified. It's at home. They have some home cooking. They have Ramsey there. People are getting healthier.
I'll be there.
You'll be there. I won't, unfortunately.
See
but
that right there should juice the team up an extra 10 points.
No, that's great. Ball down on fourth goal. Bills turn over the ball. Very good. For me, good. That's great. Phenomenal. No, I'm phenomenal. Anything about my buddy's at the game. He's a huge Bucs fan in Buffalo. Buffalo lose. That will give me such joy if the Bills lose. Oh, but that's why we have to win. Imagine that. Imagine the Bills are 4-4. Like, you know how much excitement I'd have? I'm going to wake up with such a grin. It's like a Dolphins win for me if the Bills go 4-4. That'd be phenomenal news. For me, this is a game where we need to get back home, get our legs under us, just forget about what happened last week, beat down the Patriots, go 2-0 against the Patriots, get them out of our rear view mirror. We don't have to see them again for the rest of the season, and smile and cheer for Germany. Any final words before we head out? We've had a great show, great support. Any final words?
I really hope that the Bills lose tonight.
Me too.
And I just want to see them lose, and then I'd have some fun. Just to enjoy myself before we meet the Patriots.
Yeah. And I want to make a side note. Are people now going to say that Brock Purdy is concussion prone because he's in concussion protocol, or is that just reserved? Or is that just reserved for Tua?
That's just reserved for Tua. You know that.
It's ridiculous, eh? Don't you find this absolutely ridiculous? It's absolute bananas. It's like totally ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. And by the way, the guy was fit, by the way, and he's not a system quarterback. Watch how the San Francisco 49ers are going to look with Sam Darnold behind center. Holy cramoly. Quarterback matters. We have a great quarterback. So what's up, Eric?
I want to just say thanks to everybody for tuning in, and thanks for supporting us.
Yeah.
Without you, there is no us. So.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This Saturday, you have Fin's Talk Today with Fish Tank Hank and Bobby. Then following up on Sunday, you have the pregame show, FinStanza with Bobby. Then we're going to watch the Dolphins and with Hank in his retro white uniform, Tua jersey. I think you have one. I think you have a retro Tua, don't you?
Yes, I do.
You'll be wearing that. He'll be there with Sweet Kelly, who I love. It's going to be phenomenal. They're going to win because you want to know what? Ramsey will be there. Hill will be there. Williams will be there. X will be there because they want to gel and get that sense of happiness again in Dolphins land, be 6-2, leading the division. We don't want to have any of that sense that we're near the Bills. We just want to keep that leg up. I said we just need to stay ahead of the Bills heading into the bye. Guys, any final words, Fish Tank, before I click it out and I just get to my message?
Just fins up.
Fins up, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Watch us all weekend. We appreciate you. Fins up.